Fantastic. Kirk, take it away.
Kirk Linehan, based in Scottsdale, Arizona. Been with EXP about 2 years. It's my team is myself. I have one buyer's agent that works for me, and then a full-time transaction coordinator. And we've been here. I've been here back full-time in the market in Arizona 3.5 years, and I have my license in California and Nevada as well.
Okay, great. Hey, Mario, we're going to ask you to come closer. We just had a couple of people ask if we can get the icons on the screen. So if you want to maybe turn around and walk a little closer towards us, great.
I'll do my best, yeah.
Okay, perfect. Hey guys, if you can't hear me, I'm having my mic keeps going in and out between green and yellow. So just let me know if we're having an issue, and I'll change headphones. Okay. So let's start. Heidi, what do you contribute your icon success to?
We are very strong in working our database and CRM. I'm 95% by referral and past clients and doing our farming. I would tell you that my success is that every day I work my CRM. It's part of my habit. It's every morning. I don't schedule anything. So between the morning hours until lunchtime, that is the time that I would work on it. And I'd say staying consistent to that has certainly been, I think, one of the reasons, and taking really good care of our clients.
How long did it take you to get to your icon level? Have you been doing that several years?
So I originally started out in real estate just myself, and then I worked in a large team, and I was the top buyer's agent. So I had a little bit of a head start in that. I mentored underneath my team lead and learned a bunch, and then I started my own team after I'd been with him for 5 years. And so I would tell you that when I came into EXP, I already had the volume level to be an icon. But I would say it probably took me 2 years after I went on my own to get to the level that we achieve as icons.
That's fantastic. Mario, what do you contribute your icon success to?
First and foremost, God, because nothing happens without Him. And secondly, I would say coaching. So some of you may have heard the name, God rest his soul now, Zig Ziglar. He was my father's personal coach in the late 50s and early 60s. And I hired my first coach in 1990, I'm going to say 1989, actually. My first personal coach was Bob Proctor from the Secret, the movie The Secret fame. He was my personal coach. I was fortunate enough to have worked with his son, Brian, and was able to become close with Bob and his partner on the world stage, John Canary, who's still a dear friend and mentor of mine. Moving on from there, some of the names, in 1995, I hired Mike Ferry himself to be my personal coach. I'm a Canadian. I was paying $18,000 a year in US dollars a year in 1995 to have Mike coach me. Bruce Keith has been a personal coach of mine, and he's still a dear friend and mentor. Richard Robbins was a personal coach of mine. I also did some coaching for his organization back in 2000. And to this day, Craig Proctor and Todd Walters are my personal coaches, and that's only, by the way, in the realm of business. I also have coaches in other aspects of my life as well, but definitely it's been surrounding myself with people who have done it and done more than I am doing at this present moment in time, and trending to do what they have done and then some. And so definitely coaching, if it was summed up in one word.
Sounds good. Kurt, we contribute your ICON success to?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of parts that go into that. But I'll try to just surmise it. I think we run our organization very, very basic. I believe in the basics. I believe in doing what you say you're going to do. And I think in our market, it's amazing how many people don't do that. The agents that we compete against or the other agents that are out there. So, doing what we say we're going to do, we're very disciplined in sticking to our systems. We really don't deviate because I don't believe in reinventing the wheel. I want to take something that somebody else has been very successful at and put our own spin on it to make it work for ourselves. And honestly, just outworking everybody else. We're very disciplined on getting up and kind of doing our time blocking and sticking to our systems. And so I know those are very basic things, but I would say that that's really the biggest contributor to it. I had ICON my first year with EXP, and this is my third year, and we'll have hit ICON again. So we did it in our first year.
That's right. And you mentioned the basics. You like the basics. What would like the number one priority be every single day of a basic, something basic that you do? Yeah,
I get up first thing, we all have buyers that we're working with. And first thing I do when I get up in the morning, I look at all the new listings, because in our market here, especially, kind of before the past 2 or 3 weeks, we were at record low inventories. And so, we would have properties where there'd be 3, 4, 5 offers on a property. So, I would get up, we would try to be the first person to, find a new listing, get out and see it. So that would be one of the things. Second thing would be the basics is open houses and door knocking. I know people out there, agents, they say, I do an open house, but I'm telling you, they work. My agent does 3 to 4 open houses a week, goes out there, door knocks the neighborhood before the open house, and we get unrepresented buyers all the time from that. And I look at it as if you're sitting in your house working, in your office, you have zero chance to meet anybody. If you're out at an open house and working as a mobile office, you have an opportunity to meet somebody, and that's what you need. You need bites at the apple. You need opportunities. So for agents out there that are struggling, that are trying to build their business, I would say do 5 open houses a week. Use it as your mobile office.
I love it. Good stuff. That's what we did before the internet. So Heidi, what does your daily schedule look like?
So my daily schedule is basically coming in the office, getting on my CRM, working those, making sure I do a lot of note cards and so forth. Can you hear me? Hello?
Yes, I can.
Okay, you can hear me. And then just setting up on my day from there. I'll set listing appointments and later on in the afternoon. My daughter does our buyer's agent appointments, and my husband runs all the back end and does the overflow, working on our marketing and so forth, and then just getting out and working with vendors. I have a lot more success with working with our business owners and getting referrals versus just asking our clients for them. So I'll just try to look at other business owners. I think it's a lot easier to ask them since they get it on how to share business. So that's more of my tactic.
Okay. And I don't know, we're getting a little feedback from someone. Heidi, do you have a TV in the background or something on, maybe? Someone overhead getting a little hard to hear you.
Nope, it's not me.
Okay.
This is Mario.
No, it's not me.
So, okay. So if anyone does have their mic on in the audience, because I can't really tell, please mute. Thanks much. Mario, let's see you. What is your number one priority that you do every single day?
So I'm a second generation real estate broker, and my dad back in the, who I speak much about because he's a great person to speak about, especially in our real estate business. So back in the early 60s, by himself, he was selling 200 homes a year. Now, keep in mind, that's in an era where there's no cell phones, there's no pagers, there's no fax machines, there's no computers. So that's all heart-to-heart selling. And he gave me some great advice. I was 18 years young when I started in the business with a real estate license, which was 30 years ago. And he said, son, there's three things that you've got to do every single day if you want to succeed in this real estate business. I said, hey, Dad, what are those three things? I'm going to do them, I promise you. He says, number one, talk to people. Number two, talk to people. And number three, talk to people. So the secret is really there is no secret, and it's really hard work, determination. And so if you ask me what is my most important strategy every single day, it's 3 hours invested talking to people. Prospecting, if you want to call it that, and appointment generation, because our niche is appointments. We have to play the appointment game every single day. So my ambition every single day is to create anywhere between 1 and 3 appointments per day, and that's my main priority every single day.
Awesome. Kirk, what is your most effective lead generation tool or process? Obviously, Mario's is talking. What would yours be?
Well, I'm 100% referral based. I don't do any advertising or other than just standard social media stuff. So the biggest priority for me every day is to work my sphere of influence, work my lender referral network, and work my my past clients. And a lot of times, obviously we're dealing in very interesting times that I think many of us probably haven't dealt with in our lifetime with what's happening in our world. And, last week I sent out a message to every single person in my sphere of influence, all my past clients, just saying to them, hey, how are you? Are you healthy and safe? Is everything okay? And honestly, I had zero intention of anything real estate. I just wanted to tell them, hey, I am here for you to help you if I can. And I don't have any expectation in return from that. And I'll tell you, it was amazing the amount of responses that I got. People so grateful that I reached out to them. And inevitably, some of that does turn into real estate. And so my point with that is be of service to other people and don't expect anything in return, no matter what the time is. And inevitably, you will get business from that. So my number one thing is working my sphere, maintaining my relationships, and making sure that people understand that I'm here to help you in real estate or otherwise.
Come from a place of contribution. I love it, especially now in this time we're going through. Heidi, you mentioned your CRM that you work at every day. Is there another process or lead generation tool besides your CRM that you find most effective for you?
I work on 2 big farms of neighborhoods, one that I used to live in and the one that I currently live in. And the same thing like Kirk was saying, right now, I'm just coming from contribution. I also want to go in a little hidey hole right now sometimes and just cry and be like, what is going on? So, that's just me being transparent and real. I know I can't live there, but I also have to realize that I'm getting thousands of emails from every single vendor I know about what they can do to me and how much they can save me money. And it's just noise. And so I reached out to my farms and suggesting, the teddy bear campaign that I had seen, where all the neighbors put teddy bears in their front window and the kids can go by. And we offered the kids, if they could, my husband put 7 in our windows, if they could tell us all 7, that we'd send them our sunglasses. And just finding other ways besides just being business as usual, because it's not business as usual, in my opinion. And so, I'm still reaching out to my farms because they are a huge part of my business, but not in a business aspect.
Right. Awesome. Maria, you've been in the business obviously a long time, generational. Two parts of my question. Number one, have you ever seen anything like that in what's going on right now in our industry? Have you seen anything like it? And as a result, what are you doing differently as far as your lead generation?
And first of all, I love what everyone said here, Kurt and Holly, is that they're coming from a state of contribution. And the foundation of our company since day one is giving starts the receiving process. Giving starts the receiving process. To answer your question, have I ever seen anything like this? I was talking to a lawyer of mine. Her name is Karen. She has a mother-in-law who's 101 years young, and she's got all her wits about her. She still drives to do her own shopping. And her mother-in-law said to Karen, you know, I've been through a war, I've been through a depression. I've never seen anything like what's going on in our world today. So the answer is no, I've not seen anything like this at all. And quite candidly, I am still trying to figure out how to navigate these waters. But definitely, we are coming from a state of contribution right now, and just reaching out, not reaching out for the purpose of, hey, when do you plan on moving? Reaching out for the purpose of, how can we serve you? How can we help? And we're definitely, some of the things we're doing as an example, just within our team, which our team consists, by the way, there's 13 people in total, and 6 are licensed realtors. So with our team, everything right now is being done, or at least most things are being done in the Zoom room, Zoom conferencing, as well as here in the world, the EXP world, having our meetings, having our coaching, having our training sessions, and having our buyer benefits and seller benefits presentations done live in the Zoom room. And it's quite remarkable because since in our world, or here in Canada, let's say March 12th, and maybe in everyone else's world too, when the NBA shut down, is really when this started to become very, very real and very, very serious for a lot of people. And so I'm going to say we've done, since March 12th, we've done, I'm going to say about 20 presentations, buyer presentations and seller presentations over a Zoom conference, and we're actually getting agreements signed in the Zoom room. So that's one strategy, is really, we're so blessed here with EXP because we're so far advanced technologically and in many other ways as well. So, and this may become somewhat of a norm, even God willing, after all this is over, sooner rather than later, where we're doing more and more presentations in the Zoom room or in the world, and having people sign agreements right on our screen. And so we're making some adjustments that way. And in terms of lead generation, actually, we've ramped up our lead generation. We generate about 1,000 leads a month through Google, Facebook, and of course our referral marketing systems as well. And we're ramping that up. Our ISA department, inside sales department, is in full swing because if people are on the web and they're doing something web-based in real estate, means they have something on their mind. And although we may not get them out there today to actually look at properties physically or list our property, we are booking listings and booking buyers for when this does pass, so we have a good flow in our pipeline. So those are some of the things we're doing.
Great, that's awesome. Kurt, as far as lead generation, how much do you spend on your lead generation, or if you want to give us a percentage of your budget? Marketing, advertising, etc.
I don't spend anything on lead generation, to be honest, unless you count, obviously, CRM system, that there's a small cost to that, that obviously gives touches to our clients via text and emails, monthly or bi-monthly, whatever the cadence we have set up is. So there's a cost with that. And we do one mailer to an area that we farm very hard, that we're very prominent in, but the cost is very, very minimal, a few $100s a month. We have a targeted group of addresses that we hit every month. We door knock and we mail to them. So other than that, that's really all that we spend. So my budget would be, literally maybe it's $300 a month if you average it out, or $250 a month. Our budget is our time. We spend our time grinding, working our sphere, again, door knocking. So I guess if you want to equate that out, there's a cost to it. But from a financial contribution point on marketing, our budget's pretty much zero.
So your message, from what I'm hearing, is because you have a lot of relational business, it's less of a budget because you have the relationships established.
Yeah, it's that, and it's just getting out there and doing the groundwork. Hustling, meeting with people. Like I said, door knocking, doing open houses. That's free advertising. That's free marketing. Yeah, your time is worth something, but you can work from an open house just like you can work from your home office. The biggest issue is a lot of times people don't want to leave their house. And I always tell young agents, you have to get out there and you have to give your opportunity to meet people. So yeah, that would be, obviously we are relationship based. And our past clients. I mean, it's one thing to close a deal. Any salesperson can close a deal, but can you be that person's realtor for life? And once you close, there's a lot that goes into continuing and maintaining that relationship, because the reality is all of our clients, they know 15 realtors. And if you're not working that client, someone else is. So I have friends in the same circles that aren't realtors, and I'm the realtor for all our friends because I continue to work it. So that's something too, is once you close a deal, don't let the relationship die. The relationship going, because that's going to be your best marketing and referral source.
Great, thanks. Thank you, Kirk. Heidi, do you have a budget to spend, or a portion of it? What do you spend it on for your lead generation? Marketing, advertising, etc.?
So I follow the Millionaire Real Estate book and what the percentages that are laid out there in the book at the level that we're at. And we have followed those ever since I've read that book. I think it's very easy. Somebody else had said about not recreating the wheel. Since I didn't know what my percentages would be, I went right off of that and we stay to that. If we're able to add to it, like when we do our client events, we'll ask our vendors to help contribute. So that's an extra bonus to add to that. But we're very good. But I will tell you right now, we are frozen. I mean, it's a red light scenario, really looking at what we're spending money on and what we're not. And my husband has spent the last 3 days very hard getting into all of our expenses. And I'm going to start, just scratching things off for now that aren't possibly working or bringing the return of investment back, and running a green light, a red light right now. The book is The Millionaire Real Estate Agent.
Mario, are you pulling back on your advertising budget during this time?
So I do a lot of mailings, so I probably am going to pull back on that because I still can reach out to those people. I have their email addresses, their phone numbers for text messages, so I'm going to try to just focus on things that are free. Social media, I set up one of my farms. I run the Nextdoor app. I also run the Facebook page, so that way I'm plugged into those ways on a free basis, and I'm going to try to work it that way for now.
Great, thank you, Heidi. Mario, are you pulling back on your budget at all, or tell us what you're doing?
First of all, Heidi, please forgive me. I said Holly earlier on. That's my bad. I'm sorry about that. And so the answer to that question is right now, no. I am not pulling back. As I mentioned earlier, I'm going full swing with respect to the lead generation and the inside sales department making calls. And my ambition through all this is to expand and not contract. I will outwork the virus. God willing, of course. God give me the strength and the health to do that. And I lost my train of thought there for a moment. Oh,
I love that though.
What I was going to say is, now that doesn't mean I'm not pulling back on expenses. So as an example, just a simple example, and someone said, I was in a conversation in the world the other day, and someone said, hey, in 2008, when there was the financial meltdown in the United States, I reacted too late. I took too long to react, or to respond, rather. And so that doesn't mean I'm not cutting back on expenses, in the sense that, just as a simple example, yesterday I called my television and internet provider here at home, and somehow, we're paying almost $400 a month for our television and internet package, and we got that down to $189 a month, and somehow I have, and I did cut out the nonsense channels, but I actually have a higher speed internet right now. So this has caused me to look at things on a deeper level, and really cut out the stuff, I'll say that in quotation marks, the stuff that's really unnecessary, and that I've not been using. So it's a great time to be diligent and vigilant with money.
Awesome. I love it. Yeah, Dave Kennord was discussing that in our meeting. Everyone should be looking at their budgets right now. Kirk, what are you doing differently this year that you did last year to improve your numbers?
What am I doing different? It's a good question.
If you're doing anything.
Yeah. Well, the one thing that I did do this year, so this is, like I had mentioned, I'm going into my 4th full year here in Arizona. This is the first time that I've had a full-time transaction coordinator. And I laugh at myself now because it's the best thing that I've ever done, and I kick myself for not doing it earlier. So that's definitely taken a lot of admin time off my plate, allowed me to work my sphere. It just has freed up more time to where I can prospect and continue to network. So that's been huge. I think that will help. The second thing I would say is over the 3 years, my business has morphed into a more luxury-based business. So as as the price point continues to climb, that just organically helps your sales numbers increase. I'm actually not looking to do more transactions. Between me and my agents last year, we did about 63 transactions at an average of a little over 800,000 per deal. And quite honestly, for 2 people, that's stretched the rubber band as far as you could go and still be able to provide very quality service, because that's always the goal. So, I'm actually looking to do around 50 transactions, but at a higher dollar amount. So the biggest thing that I would say that I've done differently is free up more of my time that allows me to go out and hunt and find the deals.
Sounds good. Heidi, are you doing anything differently this year than you did last year to increase your business?
Can you guys hear me better now?
I think so.
Okay, I switched to headset, so
yeah, that's much better.
They were having a hard time hearing me. I haven't really changed anything. I had just engaged a new magazine that was really cost effective and that I really liked. I mean, so I don't know really if that's going to change anything. I went to my top 50 clientele, but we actually just wrote, we had such a great year last year that all we wrote for this year was ditto, and just repeating what we were doing. So I haven't really changed anything per se, except that what we were doing was really working.
Sounds good. Mario, is there anything that you're doing differently this year than you did last year to improve your numbers?
You know what? Rather than answer that question, and please forgive me because I think it might have some value if I answer that question. What am I doing differently this week as opposed to last week to improve the numbers? And that's over communicate, and especially with my team. If we talk just strictly in the real estate realm. So as an example, 8:01 every morning, we have an 8-minute huddle. And the same at 5:01 p.m. every afternoon, we have an 8-minute huddle. And the huddle is, just bringing people back in. It's all centered around bringing people back into alignment, because there's so much going on around us right now, especially with social media and media, that it's very easy to get out of alignment. So just centered questions like, hey, what are you grateful for right now? What are you committed to? What are you going to start doing? What are you going to stop doing? That sort of thing. So just bringing people back into alignment. And so, and the same with our clients, and especially with our family, if we go down a different realm. But really over communicate, make sure that everyone knows that they're loved and they're cared for, and that we're here for them, and God willing, of course, we're going to get through this. And I always say God willing, because at the end of the day, God is in control. And my mantra right now is God is good. He has a plan, and it will prevail. I probably repeat that to myself, I don't know, maybe 5,000 times a day. Heidi mentioned earlier going into the Heidi hole. She's wanted to go into the Heidi hole. Well, I've already gone into the Mario hole several times, and with my head in my hand, saying, "What the heck's going on here?" But just keep saying, "Man, God is good. He has a plan. It will prevail." And and that's another thing, is really develop a mantra, develop a mission, develop a purpose. This is a great time to really work on myself. And, what's really important to me? Where do I really want to go in the next 1, 3, 5, 10, 20 years? And what do I really want to do, and why? Because it's only when I know why that I will endure the how. If I don't know why, I will not endure the how. And as Kirk and Heidi mentioned, there's a lot of hows getting to really anything of value in our lives. And if we don't know why, it'll be easy to jump off the boat. So, yeah. Are you there? I seem to have lost you.
I can hear you.
I can hear you.
Okay, good. So that's what I've got for you.
We lost Karen.
I have a question.
Sure, go ahead.
Okay, I have a question for anybody, really. I have some buyers that are concerned, obviously, about the market, like everybody else, the economy, and they're in the luxury market. They're concerned that if they buy now, their house value could drop in 1 to 2 years, or even in the next 6 months. I don't see that happening, because we're not in the middle of necessarily a financial crisis, although it is hurting our financials. And with the tight market, I really don't see that happening. They are in contract, but really nervous about moving forward. And I see a lot of people pulling out of contracts. I don't want to oversell anything. I don't want to sell them on buying the house. At the same time, I want to be able to provide them some information that I believe when we start flattening the curve with the coronavirus, that there is a lot of pent up demand for just everything in general. So, I mean, restaurants, buying anything you want, anything you were thinking of buying, I think people are going to let go of the purse strings. So is anybody experiencing this? And if so, what are you telling your clients? How are you making them feel comfortable or not?
Well, Catherine, we have been experiencing that, where we have some military buyers, people that were buying homes without selling theirs, and now scared because even though they're military, they have their income orders to stay in place right now are there. And so they're worried about finding tenants. I think what I like to tell people right now is nobody knows. And if they tell you they do, they're lying, because this is something that's unprecedented, and we've never had this occurred. All I can tell you is to show them what some of the experts are saying. The NAR expert had stated, that he doesn't feel that this is going to be a housing crisis. I don't think that this is going to be a housing crisis myself either. I think we're all in our boat together. And so I think in the end, we're all going to come out together. And I think that if you just give them the information, and I think we can't live in fear, but we also can't advise people to do something they're uncomfortable with. And even though it sucks and we may lose deals, we have to do what's right and what's right for them.
Right. I agree with that. I was just on NAR right before I came into this meeting, and I couldn't find anything like that. Could you point me to where, I guess it's...
I'll try to find it and send it to you. It was the Economist that did a write-up. If I can find it, I'll send it to you, Catherine.
Okay, thanks, Heidi.
Catherine, I want to chime in on one thing too. What you said is, and I don't know, your buyer's specific situation, but what I've told a couple buyers, I mean, the fact with real estate is we don't know what the market would have done in a year had this not happened. We've been on a 8 or 9 or 10 year upswing, and it's historical fact that markets are going to have ups and they're going to have downs. We aren't going to go up forever. So what I have told clients is that, hey, what is your horizon to own this house? Is it long term? Is it 6, 8, 10 years? Well, if that's the case, there's going to be ebbs and flows. And if we buy it right, which we negotiate hard at the beginning and we buy it right, then in the long term, you're most likely going to be okay. If your horizon is to live in it a year or two and then possibly sell it, we probably need to talk about this. So I would really talk to your buyer about, what's their plan on how long they plan on living in the home, because, you had mentioned, they said, well, is my housing value going to go down in 1 or 2 years? Well, that very well could have been the case had this not happened. Like our real estate market, I mean, agents, we have to look ourselves in the mirror, and you got to understand, the market's not going up forever. It's just not going to. It's historical fact that it's not. So I think each person, each transaction, buyer and seller, it's going to be different, and we've got to be as educated as we can, and to what Heidi said, as transparent as we can, and make sure that we're always doing the right thing for the client and just giving them the best advice we can.
I think that's
Hey guys, I'm
nice.
here on mobile. I'm trying to get back in. Sorry, you're just gonna have to ad lib. You're doing a great job. Keep going.
So I have a question for anyone, for any expert. Is it a good time to sell home? I have a neighbor who is making this decision. What should I be telling him?
Well, you asked, I think you said you have a question of an expert. I'll answer that question, but I'm definitely not an expert. And so really and I love what Kirk and Heidi said, is that one thing that I must avoid doing is speaking in absolutes, because really there's only one thing we know for sure, and that's that we don't know. So I'm very often asked that question, hey, when's the best time to sell? When's the best time to buy? And they're asking that question from different perspectives. Sometimes it's seasonality. Is the spring the best time? Is the summer the best time? Is the winter the best time? And there's different answers to that question, but in my opinion, there's only one real answer. The best time to sell a home is when you are ready and the right opportunity comes along. So, as an example, if you're speaking to your neighbor, this goes down to a real deep conversation. So, we actually, when we speak as an example to a buyer, we have 49 fields of criteria that we search from. And the reason that we're able to sign buyers to agreements very often is because if we have a 1 hour conversation, 45 minutes of that conversation is all about them. And it's the same thing with sellers. When we have a conversation with sellers, before we talk about anything in relationship to marketing or price or anything else, we talk about them. And that's the most important part in the equation, is them. And so we want to dive deep into, in relationship to your neighbor, dive deep into the what. My best friends are who, what, where, when, why, how, see, tell, feel. Those are my best friends. Why are they moving? When would they like to move? What is the purpose of this move? Is it a financial gain? Is it a family situation? So really, there's no right answer to that question other than finding out about them, and then so it's a discovery session, and then put them in front of them. Put them in front of them. So after you find out about them, put them in front of them, because that's what great realtors do and great salespeople do, is they put them in front of them, because it's not about what we say, it's about what they want. and how we can help them achieve that, achieve what they want. So put them in front of them, and then move the process forward from there. I hope that helps.
Does anyone
Okay,
else
I'm
have any
almost in.
questions?
Here's another question. Why do you want to sell real estate if you want to go? And I'm almost in.
What was the question again, Karen?
The question, Heidi, is why do you want to sell real estate?
Why do I want to sell real estate? I don't know. I ask that every day. Because I love the flexibility of this job and being able to help somebody. Believe it or not, I love the troubleshooting of this job.
Sorry about that, guys. My computer crashed. Do you want? Let's see. We got 10 minutes left, and you want to just take some questions from the audience? Someone has their hand up.
I have a question.
Go ahead.
This is for Mario. You were talking about put them in front of them. Are you talking about just doing active listening and saying, this is what I hear you saying? If you did, is that what you were talking about with the clients? Put them in front of them. Is Mario still here?
Mario,
I am
nope.
here. I am here. I was kicked out of the world in the sense that it crashed on me, but I'm here on the intercom. Sorry, what was the question?
The question was, you said put them in front of them when you're talking to your clients. Were you referring to like doing active listening, or were you, kind of showcasing what you hear them say and reframe it back to your client, or were you referring to something else when you were saying put them in front of them?
That's a brilliant question, and yes, it is very much active listening, active note taking. And really discovering what their wants and motives are, and then putting that back in front of them to help them make a decision that is in their best interest. So that's our role. I'll speak for myself. My role is to help people make a decision that is in their best interest. And the only way I can do that is by having a deep understanding. So I'll give you an example. My son, Daniel, who is the most disciplined man I know, and he certainly doesn't get his discipline from me, so God bless him for that. And so as an example, he works out 6 days a week. He has not missed a day for probably about 7 years, and he's still doing it today. And so he was having a challenge with it. He was going down into our home gym, and he was having a challenge where he was having head spins, and he was just about to pass out. So I took him to a natural path, and the natural path, it was a 2.5 hour discussion about Daniel. And Daniel asked me to come in into the room with him at the time. So I was privy to the discussion. And there's only two things that reveal the truth, and that's time and questions. So time and questions are the only two things that reveal the truth. So only by asking questions will we get to the truth, the crux, if you will, of the matter. So Dr. Karatza asked Daniel questions for 2.5 hours. And what we discovered after all that, the reason he was having the head spins is there was no not enough ventilation in the gym. And there was not enough air circulation in the gym. And all we had to do was leave the door open because there is a window there. So we discovered that by leaving the window open, he could work out just the way he was working out normally, just by leaving the door to the gym open. But that would not have happened without a 2.5 hour discussion about Daniel. So that's, yes, it's very much active listening, active note taking, and then put their ideals in front of them and say, hey, this is what you shared you wanted. Is that right? And then just help them make a decision. It's actually helping them make a commitment to the decision, because decisions and commitments are different things. A decision is let's get married, and a commitment is let's stay married. And so help them make a commitment to their decision that is in their best interest, very importantly. I hope that helps.
That's great stuff. That's awesome. Let's see, Kirk, I have a couple questions left. So how about Kirk? What would describe to the audience, maybe someone just starting out there wants to know how to overcome failures. What would be an epic failure that happened to you that may have changed the way you do business?
That's a great question. Biggest failure that I've had in real estate was in my first year when I started. It was just myself. I didn't have an agent working with me, obviously, as most people do when they just start out. I did not have a transaction coordinator, and I got really busy very quickly. In my first year, I think I closed a little over 10 million. And at one point, I was so busy getting pulled a million different directions that I failed to provide the kind of service that a client expected and quite frankly deserved. And I lost that client. And in my professional experience, that had never happened. I had never really had, I mean, we've all had little failures, but I had never had a major failure like that where I just dropped the ball because I was so busy. And what it made me do was realize that I can't be everything to everybody, and I can't do it alone all myself. And so that's when I brought on an agent to work with me. So the epic failure was not providing the level of service that client deserved. And it caused me to pivot, bring on people to work with me. And since I had done that, my business has went from 10 million to over 50. So an epic failure turned into a good success.
That's great. That's awesome stuff. Heidi, we have a question from the audience. What do you do to stay motivated on a daily basis, and how do you overcome the negativity from others about the real estate industry?
That's a loaded question right now.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, honestly, right now, I have to say, because this company is about transparency, I've had a hard time this week. It just kind of hit me. I'm typically a positive person and look at the good side of everything, and it just some things that have happened that just made me just kind of kick back. But and honestly, I was like, I don't even want to do this today. And then now I'm looking at it, and I'm glad I did, because I feel more motivated. So getting in front of people and talking to others and realizing that we're not alone. I also don't like people to spread negativity. I mean, last night I was on a page and there was a person that was talking about something that they were doing. It's really considered blockbusting, telling people to operate in fear and sell their houses, and they're that's not right. And I will stand up against that every day and tell people not to spread that type of negativity. But I just look at it, and this too shall pass. I have to be an example to my family and to others that we can get through this. And even though, yes, other realtors, they've taken my clients, they've done bad things, I believe in karma. I believe that it'll come back. Maybe it takes a little bit longer than I thought, but I also think that right now we're going to weed out a lot of those type of people, because only the true are going to stay strong.
Agreed. Mario, what do you do to stay motivated these days?
First of all, I make sure that I'm in constant communication with the creator of the created, listening. And if we take it here to the secular world, is that so I remember talking to a dear friend of mine. His name is Jerry, and Jerry and I have done a lot of real estate deals together, and he's a pretty cool dude. He's gone from nothing to he's in the water, clean water and clean air business, actually. And he has his company. He's got about 500. He's a direct distributor. He's got 500 direct distributors in his company throughout the world. So he's a really sharp thinker. And we were going through a real estate deal, and it was a pretty good sized transaction, and it was about to fall apart. and there was a lot of money on the line. And I remember something so poignantly, and one of the brilliant things he said, I talked to him on a specific day, and he said, you know what I did today? He says, all I did today is reach out to my people and ask them how I could help them. Because when I am in the mode of helping others, I forget about myself. So actually this, and I feel the same way Heidi did, coming into this, I said, oh my God, I'm not aligned for this today, but I am so turned on right now in terms of, because we're helping people, God willing, there's going to be some things taken from this that are going to help people for many generations to come from this day. So to stay motivated, help people. And giving starts the receiving process. And so when I'm in giving mode, that for me is what charges me. The greatest financial plan ever written is found in the book of Malachi. And it's actually chapter 3, verses 8 to 12. And it's so short, but it's so brilliant, and it's all about giving. And when we give, or I speak for myself, when I give, it's then that I am most charged, and I love being able to send out a text message. We talked about benevolence. There's a lot of benevolence on this stage. And the one of the things we talked about is just helping our clients, and I love sending out a message from time to time. It's beautiful. Is that I send out a message to sometimes 1,000 clients, and I'll say, hey, today I've got $5,000 that I'm going to give away, no questions asked, to a single mother or single parent family. And there's no questions asked. Just give me a call or send me a text. Let me know who to give it to, and we're going to deposit money in their account. And so that motivates me. That's what really gets my juices flowing. And being here today is a blessing. I'm very grateful.
Anyone else want to have any final thoughts or words?
I just want to say to everybody, thank you so much for taking the time to come in. Everyone's lives are crazy right now. And as much as we're real estate agents, we're also therapists for a lot of our clients. And just remain calm. This too shall pass. It's not the first crisis that our countries have faced, and it's certainly not going to be the last. So be informed, be educated, and be there for your clients any way you can.
Very well said, Kirk. I agree 100%. Thank you, everybody, for coming. We appreciate you being here. It's a blessing just to be on this a stage here. And my last word would be stay connected, lean in, get into the world, especially if you're feeling down or you're lonely. Sometimes I just go in there and put it on and just, go into auditorium and listen to a class. So that is my final words. Thank you again. And we'll see you next time.
Thank you, everybody.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
God bless everybody. Stay well.
God bless you all.
Everyone.
Stay well.
Job.